Okay, friends. Today I'm going to talk about using database with SQL in Windows Forms application. And we'll do that in Visual Studio 2019. Okay, let's start. First of all, let's create a database. Okay, let's create a database. Actually, I'm going to create this database on my local computer. But if you have access to any database on the internet, so you can also follow the same steps and create your database on the database server connected to the internet. Okay, now if you can't see Server Explorer, you can go View and choose Server Explorer item here. Then you will see Server Explorer window. Okay, on this Server Explorer window, we have data connections, but we are going to create a new database. Therefore, I'm not going to use the database created here. Then I'm coming to data connections item. I right click on that and I choose add connection. Here, since I'm going to create local database, I will write database file name here. If you have existing database, so you can browse it and find it. But now I'm going to create a new one. That's why I will write the name of my new database. Since I'm going to create it on my local computer, I will say C users test and the name of let me create it on my desktop. Okay, what is the name of my database? I will say t2.mdf will be the name of my file name of my database. Okay, here you can change the data source, but I will keep it because I'm going to create my SQL Server database file. Okay. And here we have logon information. Actually, I will keep it as use Windows authentication. So since I log on to my Windows operating system, it will use the same authentication and it will not require any password from me. But if you choose, user use SQL Server authentication, so you will need to put username and password for that. Especially if you are connecting to server database server on the internet, so it's better to have username and password, and generally we have. So you need to use the other option. Okay. Now I will keep them default. Then I will say OK, but I will get a message. Since this file doesn't exist, it will ask me to get approved. I will approve it. I will say yes to create the file. After I say yes, you will see in Server Explorer window that t2.mdf, I use this file name, it is created. Then I will work on relational database management system. So here I will expand the arrow and I will expand the tables. I'm going to create table in my database. Now you can click tables, but you will not see anything because we don't have table. The database is just created. And here I will right click on tables and I will choose add new table. After a few seconds, you will see your empty table. Okay, this is my table. It's like, Excel sheet. Here it's SQL command, but it is Visual Studio generating SQL statements automatically. Okay. Now let me create my table. ID comes by default. Actually, I will use ID. Okay, let's keep it. because I will need ID. Let me decide what application I'm going to develop. Let's develop the application regarding car stock management. Okay, car stock management. So in this car stock management application, I will need information, let's say ID, brand, model, year, and stock. Okay, so based on this information, I will create my table. Let's say that I will have brand name, then model, year of the car, and stock. How many I have in my stock. Okay. Okay, friends, here n character, this is character and it will be 10 characters. It's possible to change the type of data. You can click your combo box and choose another type if you want. Okay. Here you can see the other types. Here, if you want to change the number of characters, then you can click here and change it, for example, 30 characters for brand name and press enter. So it will be ready. The other thing is we have one primary key. If you, for example, if we don't want this to be primary key, I am right clicking, I am selecting the row. I'm selecting the row, right click here and remove primary key. So primary key will be removed. Or if you want to have more than one primary key, press Ctrl key on your keyboard and then choose other rows. Then release Ctrl key, right click here and set primary key. So you will have 3 primary keys. Okay? But in this application, I will use single primary key and it will be ID. So let me roll back. And I will come here, right click and set primary key. So ID is the primary key. When you do these type of things, you can see the SQL commands are generated automatically. Okay. Okay. Then allow nulls. You can decide that I will not allow nulls for this. Okay. I will allow nulls for the others, but not ID because it will be my primary key. Okay. Let's say that this is my table. I designed it. Okay. Then you may prefer change the name of your table. It is table. The name of the table is table. So I want to change it. I will change it to my table. Okay. Now the table in my database will be named my table. After you finish everything, you are going to update button here, clicking update, then it prepares a script, then you will say update database. So this table will be created in your database. So when everything is finished, see that update completed successfully. So when you see that, you can go back to your Server Explorer. Here we have tables, but it's not refreshed. So it's better to right click on your database and click refresh. So when you refresh it, you will see your table here. You can expand it. You can see your attribute names in the table. I have one table. The name of the table is my table. I have 5, fields, and the names are here. Okay? The database and the table inside is ready. But let me insert some records manually into my table, because when I develop the application and I will gather some information from database table, so I need it not to be empty. Therefore, I want to put some records into this table. How I can do that? You can go and right click on your table, then choose show table data. On your table name, right click and choose show table data. When you do that, you will see the content of your table. This is not design. design is this. This is inside of your table. So I can fill it with some records. ID 101, brand, Honda, model, fit RS, for example. Year 2012, how many? 5. Another one, 102, Toyota, Vitz, 2020, 2 in stock. So I put just some, records in my table. You don't need to click any button. You write it, so your table is changed. So this is really dangerous if you are using, field table and your real applications. You can, let's say that, make some modifications. But when you do that, the database record will be modified. So this record will be modified. Be careful about that. Now this is just an exercise, so I'm doing it by myself. But in real life projects, if you do that and you change the record, so it will be changed. Okay? Be careful about that. No need to click any save button. I am closing. Let me close design. Right click on my table again. Show table data. And you see my records are there. Okay? Okay. Now the database is ready. I created it, I designed it, I created it, and I fill it with some sample records. Okay? Is that okay? Okay. Now let's develop our application. Okay. Here I'm clicking File, New, Project. Let me create the project. Windows Forms application, .NET Framework. Okay. Create. Okay. Now let me design my form. Here, let me open Toolbox. I will put a label here. And the content of label, let me say car stock management. Okay. Then I will have other labels. This is for ID. ID. I need one for brand, one for model. If you forget, you can click Server Explorer and see your field names here. Brand, we have year and stock. Okay, year and stock. Okay, one for year and one for stock. Okay. Then for ID, let me do it, and I will design it. I will give it a shape. But now let me put the controls. For ID, I will use text box. This is text box 2. For brand, I will use text box. And for model, I will use text box. For year, let me use combo box. And for stock, let me use numeric up down. You already know all these controls. I explained you before. Okay. Now, let me arrange the sizes. Let me change the fonts so we can have better, let's say, design. Okay. For the font of these, I can make them a little bit bigger. Okay. This is for ID, brand, model, year, and stock. ID, brand, model, year, and stock. Okay. Now, we have 4 basic operations: insert, update, and delete. And search. Insert, delete, update, and search. Actually, we can say 5. We have display. Okay. Let's say that we have 5 main operations. So let's do them here. Let me change the background of my form. So okay. Now I will need buttons. This is for insert. This is insert button. Okay, then I will need, let me change its font as well. Okay, I'm copying it and pasting. Okay, I need one more. Okay. This is for update. And this is for delete. Okay, then let me put one more button for exit. If I click this one, let's exit the application. And back color can be this. Okay. Now, first of all, I need something to display my collection. For example, I want to display all records. I want to, for example, display all records after I insert, after I update, after I delete. Okay? So to do that, we have data grid view. In your toolbox window, if you expand data, you will see that you have data grid view. You can drag and drop it here. This is our data grid view. Okay? This is our data grid view. Okay, let me put one more button here. And I will use this for displaying the content of my table. So here, this button can be for deleting, sorry, displaying the content of my table. Okay, I think design is ready. Just one thing left. For the years, this is combo box. I will edit items and I will write some, years. Okay, I filled it with some years. And for the exit button, let me write the code for it. Application dot exit. Okay, now let's text of the form can be also car stock management. Okay. Now let me run my application and see everything is okay. Okay, my application is ready. Actually, its design is finished. Now I can start to write the code. Clicking exit, it exits. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to code behind file. The first thing that I need to do, I need to import system data SQL client. Okay, we need this. Okay, then here I'm going to declare SQL connection as an instance variable because it will be used in more than one method. Therefore, here I will say dim cn, this is connection, as new SQL connection, and I need to write connection string here. Okay. How can I find or how I can write connection string? I'm going back to my Server Explorer, and I am choosing the database, right-clicking. Actually, when you choose it, if your properties window is open, you can see that. Okay. If you can't, right-click on that and choose properties. You will have the same. Go to properties, and here we have connection string. Okay. When you choose your database, in the properties window, you will see connection string. Double click the data part, right click and copy it. Then go back to your code, cn as new SQL connection, here between double quotations, paste it. So as you see, your connection string will come here. It includes information about the database, because your application needs this information to connect to your database. We are going to create connection to our database, so we need these. Okay. Now, so we imported system data client, we created our connection instance variable. Then the next is to open the connection. Open the connection where? When the form is loaded, you can open your connection. So I'm coming to form load event, and I am saying cn dot open. So this command will help me to create the connection. Open the connection. Okay, because we have declarations, but still we did not connect it to the database. But when you say cn open, you will have connection to the database file. Now, my connection is ready. Here, the first one will be my display. First one, I want to write the code for display button. When I click display, I want to see all records in the table where in data grid view. So double clicking display, Now I'm going to write the code here. First of all, let me write my query. Dim query as string. Actually, you can say query as string. My query is equal to between double quotation. What can be SQL query? Select star from where? From my table. What is the name of the table? My table. So here select star, which means select all from my table. This is my query, isn't it? This is SQL query. Okay. Then the first thing, I will create command object. Dim command, I gave command name to it. New SQL command. Okay. While I am creating my object, I need two parameters. The first one is query itself. The second one is the connection. So I will say this is my query. I already declared it. And I will say this is my connection. So command will be created with these parameters. Okay. Then I'm going to declare my data table. Dim data table as new data table. And I will create my SQL data adapter. While I am declaring my SQL data adapter, I will say SQL data adapter of what? Of command. I'm writing my command. It is created, okay? It is declared, my object is created, and I will use command object in my SQL data adapter while creating ST adapter. And I will use ST adapter with this command, ST adapter dot fill. I will use my ST adapter to fill my data table object. Okay? Now, what happened? This SQL is used over the connection, and the gathered records will be filled into data table object that I created. Then I will use this information and fill my grid view. So grid view will include all records coming by this query. Here, data grid view 1 dot data source, because I need its data source. I will say data grid 1's data source is equal to my data table. So it is filled. But that's not all. When it is filled, I mean, let's say that its data source is the data table's content is assigned to the data source of data grid view 1. After I do that, I need to refresh my data grid view. So I will say data grid view 1 dot refresh. And all the records will be shown in the grid view, in the data grid view. Let's try it. I am running the application. This is my application. Connection is created. Now it's ready, waiting for me. When I click display, it will execute my SQL, gathers the records, and display them in the data grid view. I am clicking display, and as you see, information came from the table in the database. Okay? Okay. Let's continue. Let's continue with what? Let's write Um, let me start from which one? We have insert, update, and delete. Let me, before I continue with those, I want to do one more thing. Let's say that, let me run it again. Let's say that, for example, I want to update or I want to delete. So how I will do that? I need to take information, input from the user about update and delete, isn't it? But how we can, for example, how we can get information from the table and fill these text boxes directly? Because I want to update, let's say that, let me display it. Let's say that I want to modify this record. So I want to take all the information from this record and put into these text boxes and then make my modification and update it. So in this situation, I need to take the information from data grid view. So how I can do that? For example, if I double click here, how I will get this information, about this record and put it into my text boxes here and combo box and stock. Let's do that first. I am double clicking my data grid view and this is cell content click. I will choose, I want cell double click. It's here. Okay. I don't want this one. I will use double click. When the user double clicks on any record in the data grid view, the content will be copied into the text boxes. So here I will say text box 1 dot text is equal to data grid view 1 data grid 1 current row dot cells in parentheses I will say ID. Okay, dot value. This will take ID information. Okay, I will do the same for text box 2, text box 3, combo box, and numeric up down. So here I will change this 2, this to 3. This is combo box 1. And this will be numeric up down value. Dot value, numeric up down 1 value. And here, of course, I need to change the cells. Text box 2 is the brand name, so this should be brand. This should be model, year, and stock. Okay. Doesn't matter. It's not case sensitive. Okay, these are the actually column names in data grid view. These are the column names in data grid view. Okay? ID, brand, model, year, stock, because data grid view takes these names from the database table. As you see in design, we don't have any name here for the columns. But when I run the project and I click display, so you see columns have names. So these names are coming from table. Okay, I'm double clicking this Toyota comes. I'm double clicking this record. Okay. So we can get information from the data grid and put into my input controls. Okay. After that, now we can take the content of the record, double clicked on data grid view into my input controls. Now, let's update them. Let's update some part of it other than actually primary key. Okay? And here, if I click update button, I want to modify the content of that record. I'm double clicking update. So here, of course, I'm going to write my query to update it. Therefore, I will declare query as string. And my query is equal to update. This is SQL command. My table, the name of my table, and set brand to what? Okay. Here, it will take the information from text box 2 because brand is here. Text box 2. But be careful when you're writing your SQL command, the content of text box 2 must be between single quotations. So here I need to put single quotations. And here, between two single quotations, I need to put the content of text box 2. So how I'm going to write it? Here I need to close my string, this part, and another string, this part, and between these two, I should have, in this part, text box 2 content. So I will say plus, and here I will say text box 2.text. Okay? If you miss one thing, if you miss single quotation, if you miss equal, if you miss one character, this SQL command will not run, will not execute properly. But you will not get any error. But it will not work. Okay, so you need to be careful. Okay, here, let me continue. After that, brand is okay, then I need model. The next one must become after comma. Then I will say model is equal to, okay, single quotation plus text box 3.text plus double quotation, I'm closing single quotation, and comma. Okay? Then what comes? Year comes. And year is equal to single quotation plus combo box 1.text plus double quotation, single quotation, comma. Then stock comes equal to single quotation plus stock is coming from numeric up down 1.value plus double quotation, single quotation. Now I finished it. But is that all? No. I finished writing it. I finished which fields will be filled with what. But here, how SQL Server understands which record to be modified. Which record to be modified. We need to use a condition. Therefore, here, but let me do it on the next line. Here, I will continue to write my query. I will say where ID is equal to single quotation plus text box 1 because ID is in the text box 1. where ID is equal to text box 1, which includes the ID, the first one. It is here. This one includes our primary key ID. Because here, when we say where ID, you are going to modify a record. Which record will be modified in the database? How SQL Server knows it? You are saying that modify the record which its primary key ID is equal to, for example, 102. Find that record and modify its brand, model, year, and stock. Okay? Actually, I used 4 fields to be modified. But for example, if you do not change brand will be modified but with the same name. So it will not be modified actually. Whatever you changed, that will be reflected to the content of your record. Here, let me finish it because I need one more single quotation to close it. Okay? Okay. So I close it with single quotation and my query is ready. So after my query is ready, then I will declare my command as new SQL command. This is my query and this is my connection. And then since I want to execute my SQL query only, I will say command execute non-query. This executes my query. So what will be my query is to update a particular record, it will be updated. Okay? And after you do that, okay, if you like, you can call actually here I wrote this in button 5 click, so I need to copy this part one more time. So instead of doing that, I am cutting this piece, okay, from button 5 click. I will write sub display. I will write another method and I will paste it here. So whenever I need to display the content of table in data grid view, I will call my display method. Or after I update my table, if I want to display the updated version of table in data grid view, I can call my display method. Okay? Let's run it. Okay, I am displaying all. I can see that. Okay, we have the records here. Then I clicked first row, so I can see 101 Honda Fit RS. Okay, I want to change its stock amount. Let's say that I sold 3 and 2 left. I am clicking update and I got an error. So what is the error here? Okay, the problem is this. Sorry, let me stop it. Just a minute. Here. Here, let's use and instead of plus because we are concatenating strings. Actually, plus also works, but it for some fields like numeric up-down value may return integer value, so this may create a problem. That's why I changed all to AND operator. Okay, but plus also works. Let me try one more time, but let me check query again if I miss something. Okay, it seems okay. Let me try one more time. Okay, display. Okay. Okay. Now, that's the reason. Okay, we solved it. Okay, here I'm clicking Toyota. I'm increasing the stock. Let's say that I change it to 20, update it. So it's updated. You see here. So let me change the year 2015, update it. So it is changed. Okay, update is working. Okay, okay. Now let's insert a new record. Okay. For the insert, again, I need to write my query. Let's declare it query as string, and query is equal to insert into my table values. Okay. Still, we need to write the values between single quotations in SQL command. So I will use single quotation and textbox1.text and double quotation, single quotation. The next is textbox2. So I'm opening another single quotation and textbox2.text and single quotation. I close it, comma, I open another single quotation and textbox3.text and close the single quotation, comma, single quotation, new one. The next is combo box.text, and I close single quotation and I open new one and and numeric up down value, and I close single quotation, I close parenthesis, and I think it's okay. Okay, this is my query. Now I will write my command as new SQL command, and this is my query, this is my connection, and then run the query. And then display the content in the data grid view. Okay, let's run it. Okay, here display, okay, Toyota is here, you can update it, it's okay. Then let me insert the new one. I will say 103. Let's say that Mercedes. Let's say that A class 2016 stock 7 insert. So it is inserted. Okay? Okay. Which one is left? Okay, delete. Let's write delete also. Delete will be in the similar way, but let's write it. Dim query as string q is equal to, delete is shorter, delete from my table where id is equal to you need to write the primary key. What is my primary key? ID, it is in text box 1, and it will remove the record which has this ID. Okay? Dim command as new SQL command. This is my query, this is my connection, and run the query. And display the updated version of table. Okay? This is for delete. And friends, when you finish the things, actually, I also prefer, here I just exit from the application, but I prefer to close the connection and exit the application. So you will use cn and close the database connection and then exit the application. Okay? Now, all buttons are working now. All buttons are working now. Let's try it. Here I'm displaying. Okay, let's insert a new one, 104. Suzuki Alto, year, let's say 2019, stock amount is 2, insert. I have it. Let me insert one more, 105, Suzuki test, okay, stock amount is 22, insert. Here, you can double click anyone you want to delete. For example, the last one, I double click, so the record comes into input controls. I click delete, and I got an error message. What is the problem? Where ID is equal to this. Sorry for that. Let me start again. Okay, display, and here is the test, Suzuki test. I double click on that. Information comes into input controls. I click delete button and it is deleted. Okay, we don't have it. And let's say that I double click Mercedes and I change the stock to 5, update, so it is changed. Okay, click display again so you can see the content again. Is it okay? Okay. It's not all. I want to say a few more words about search, because we did insert, we did update, we did delete, and we did display. So search is left. So it's good to talk about that as well. But on this application, friends, that's not all. Actually, this is for exercise. You can improve its design. For example, when I click update, disable ID. Oh, sorry, when I put my data here, fill these input controls from data grid view. For example, you can disable ID, because when you click update, ID must be the same. Okay, so you can improve your design. Let me tell you another thing. For example, if we want to insert a new record with an ID which exists in the database, so that's a problem. That's a problem, because now this is an exercise, the application crashes, then we are solving the problem. But in real life projects, you have to consider everything. Your application must not be crushed. Therefore, if users enters, for example, the same ID, you may need to write another SQL to check if there is any record with this ID and warn the user. Okay? Or, as I said, before any row is double-clicked on data grid view, update buttons might not be enabled, for example. Okay? We have some alternatives that you can improve the design here. For example, when I click insert, text box 1, which is for ID, must not be empty. Okay? So these are the things that you can enrich your application. Okay. Now, let's talk about search. Okay? Let's talk about search. I am extending my form, okay? And I will put the search part here. Let me copy one text box from up. This will be text box 4. And here I will copy one button. I will put it here. Let's say that this is search. And I'm going to search by brand name. For example, I will write here Honda. It will find me all Hondas. Okay? For the search, okay. Now, here, this is the search. We can say search by brand. This also is good. I mean, it's good to give meaningful names. Search by brand name. Okay. Now, I'm double clicking my button. So let's write the code. With this code, it will search the database table by brand name. So here, the first thing is the query. Then my query is equal to select all from my table where brand is equal to single quotation, don't forget that, text box 4 dot text, and close the single quotation. Okay, this is the query. After that, this is my command. Describe your command. This is query, this is connection. And after I execute the SQL query, I want to fill all related records in the same data grid view one. I am not using another data grid view one. If you want, you can put second grid view on your form and you can use that. But now I will use the same. Therefore, I need to change its data source. Okay? I cannot call display because here I'm searching. I cannot use display method here. So here I will describe my data table as new data table and declare ST adapter, SQL data adapter, and with my command, and it will gather records and fill my data table, and then I will say data grid view 1 data source is equal to the data table object, and I will refresh my data grid view control, and the records found will be displayed here. Okay, let's run the application. Okay, let's display what we have. Okay, let me search Honda. Search by brand. Let me search Suzuki. Search by brand. Let me search Suzuki test. We don't have Suzuki test, so nothing will be displayed. Okay, I change my mind. I want to see all records in the table. Click display. I want to insert. You can do that. Insert, update, delete, search, display. Everything is here. Is that all? No. Okay. I didn't finish. Okay. Now, I want something else. Let's say that I want to search by ID, but when I click this button, the record with this ID will be written in text box. Okay, so let me do that. Okay, give me some more time. Okay. Okay. Now let me expand it a little bit more. I will keep these. Let me put this here. This place here. Okay. Now, here I need one more text box. I will write the ID. Here I need one more button for this. And this is search by ID. Okay. Then when user clicks search by ID, it will search the ID in this text box. Let me copy it one more time and paste it here and display the record here in this multi-line text box. So this is something else. So I'm searching. I'm not using data grid view. I'm using text box. So how I will do that? I need to access the record, or let's say records returned back. I got it. Okay. So how I will write that? Let me show you this also, because this is also important and useful in real life projects. Okay. Okay. Then I'm double clicking search by ID here. First of all, I'm writing my query. My query is equal to select all from my table where ID is equal to, we already did this in search by brand name. What is my text box? Let me check. It is text box 5. Okay. Text box 5.text. And I close single quotation. Okay. Now dim command as new SQL command. Here is the query and here is the connection. Okay. And then something will be changed, of course. Here I will use SQL data reader. I will use SQL data reader. Dim SQL data reader as SQL data reader is equal to, I will execute my command, but execute reader. Okay? So when I do that, first of all, I will say if SQL data reader dot read, then here what happens if there is a data? I mean, when I execute the reader, if it's empty, this will be false. Okay? So if this is not false, we have some data in it. Therefore, I will say text box 6 append text. It's multi-line text box. That's why I'm saying append text. I will say ID is equal to and SQL data reader dot item ID. This is the field name from my database. Dot to string. After I do that, after I put it into my text box, multi-line text box, I will also put VBCRLF. Just move to the next line. Okay? Okay. I have 5 records, so I will do this for the rest. Okay. ID, brand, model, year, and stock. And also I need to use field names here: brand, model, year, and stock. Okay? Okay. Then here, if str read is false, then else it will display a message box dot show no records found. Okay? And this can be warning message. Okay? And at the end, I will close SQL data reader. Okay? Let's try it. Now, what I'm doing here, I am finding the record which includes the ID given by the user, and then after I get the record, appropriate record, I will display it in text box. Actually, I use multi-line text box, but you can use, for example, 5 text boxes, and you can display every field in different text box. Okay? This is the way how we can do that other than data grid view. Let me run it. Okay, it's here. Then let's display the records. Okay, we have 102. For example, I am taking 102, search by ID, and it gets the information here. Okay, ID, brand, model, year, and stock. Okay. Okay, why we have one extra line here? Okay, anyway, it's not a big problem. Let's search 101, search by ID. Oh, we have something here. I think this is something else. Okay, anyway, now the final thing, let's say that we are not searching ID because ID is unique, so I'm getting single record, isn't it? Let's say that we are not searching ID, we are searching brand, and we have more than one record. So how I can get these records and put them into text box? How I can access every record separately? Okay? Okay. Let me show you that one as well, and I will finish. I'm going back. This is search by ID. Let's copy and paste it here. Let's say that here I am going to search by name. Okay, and I will use, let's use the same text box 5, okay? And here I'm double clicking search by name. Actually, here I will use the same piece of code, query reader, okay, and I can take this part. Now I'm copying this part and I will paste it to button 8. Click here. Okay. Now, this is not ID because I'm going to search for brand name. Select all from my table where brand name is equal to text box 5. And then this is my command. Then I will execute reader. Okay. Until this point, everything is the same. Then here, first of all, let me check if some records returned back. So how I can check it? Here I will say if my SQL data reader has rows is equal to false, then if has rows is equal to false, this means that no records. Therefore, I will copy this message box from here to here. Okay? Sorry. Okay. Then if there is any row, so this message will not be displayed. Okay. After that, we may have more than one records. I don't know. Because of that, here I will create a loop. While str reader read, sorry, SQL data reader read, I will use str SQL data reader read. When I run it, when I execute this method, it will read one record from the gathered collection. If no any record, so this will be false and loop will be terminated. And in this loop, it will take all gathered records one by one until it gets all. Okay? So here, I will use this part. I will move this part to here. So in every execution of no need for this part, str close is needed. In every execution of loop body, it will add the records one by one into our multi-line text box. Okay? In the first execution, it will get first record. In the next execution, it will get next record. Until it visits all records, it will continue this loop. Okay? So str read, SQL data reader read method will help us to do this. Let's run it and see what happens. Okay. Now, let me display. I have Honda, Toyota, Mercedes, Suzuki. So let me add one more Honda. 107, Honda, Aero 2020, stock is 1, insert. So I have 2 Hondas now. Okay. Then I will search Honda, search by name. So we got it. Okay. So we got it. But of course, you can, enrich your application. First of all, before has rows, let me put text box 6.clear. And here, after every, let's say that after every record is displayed, so we can put one more VBCR left to move to the next line. put an empty line so we can separate every record, or we can put some special characters, maybe star. And also I will go back to my multi-line text box, and also I'm going to activate scroll bar vertical. Okay, let's run it again. Honda search by name. Okay, I want to do that in a good way. Actually, I also solved the problem that we put a space between two, lines. It's better to use, clear here. I'm clearing my text box and starting to fill it. So this solved the problem that it puts space between lines. But here I will also put one more VB CRLF to let the compiler to display everything in a better way. Okay. Here is the Honda search by name. Okay. You see, now I got record by record in a good shape, I think. Okay. So now you learned how you can execute your query, and access the records you retrieved one by one. Okay? And in every record, you can access the fields separately. This is important. Now you have full access, so you can manage everything here. Because sometimes we need to do that. You cannot display or do everything with data grid view. You will need to access even a single field. Okay? So this gives you flexibility. Okay? That's why I especially explain you all these things. Okay, friends? Any question? That's good. Now I'm stopping.